Well, well, I think we're live. I think we're live. It's been a while. It's been a while. It's been a while since we've had an influencer show. It's been a long, long time since we had one of these. It's been a few weeks. So, and you know what? We're coming back, and we're coming back with a vengeance. Yes, we've been on for Insomniac Comic Book Theater. We've been doing our crazy stuff there at nighttime. But now let's get serious. We got people to influence, and we want to help the community in every way possible to be influenced by our influencers. So that being said, I thought it was such an important show that we needed to actually get Kool-Aid back in the mix. Hey, Kool-Aid, how you feeling, man? He's been recovering. His leg has been in rehab. The you know the additives that they put in there are starting to work. So before you know it, he's going to be hopping around and that kind of thing. He told Kool-Aid to stay. He told Punchy to stay out of the mix, but I don't know. Maybe he'll show up. I don't know what's going to happen. But that being said, I don't want to delay too much with too many uh, BS things in the beginning. We're gonna get just straight into the interview because our guest, our influential guest that we have today, he's got things to do. He's got a show to do after this. So we're gonna get into it as fast as possible, and we're gonna play the intro, and we're gonna do the whole thing, and you'll see, you'll see. You just get with the program. Well, you just saw the intro. It said it's time for the trailer. The time for the interview. All right, we're gonna do the interview, but before we do that, I'm just gonna say a quick hello to everybody in the chat and just give you a quick rundown of how this is gonna work. Everybody that's been watching the show knows how it works, but I'm gonna say it again for anybody new that's coming in, for anybody new, so you could understand what the hell is going on. Okay, first of all, we don't really answer questions as the interview is going because I want to focus on the interviewee. That's how it works usually because we can do a little back and forth. We will acknowledge the questions and the comments and that kind of thing, but we will give a full-blown session at the end of the stream to give everybody a chance to be able to ask their questions as they're going. I will star everything I see. I probably won't see everything because I'm a little slow, but everything that I do see, I will star and I'll be able to ask the questions later. We're going to say a quick hello to everybody that's in there, and then we're going to run through it. Hello, John Stout. How are you? Hello, Pokin' Joe. How are you? And we're going to just do hello, Real Rude. How are you? How are you, Matt? Comics by the Bay. Beef It. Hello. Howard Johnson. Is that the same Howard Johnson that played for the Mets? I don't know. But hello. We got Vogs 18. Hello, Vogs. Okay. All right. Who else do we got here? We got Evil's Comics. We got to say hello to him. Who else do we have to say? Listen, after I say all the hellos, no more hellos after that. I'm just being very clear with you. I'm not going to do hellos every 2 seconds and cut the interview. It doesn't work like that here. Okay. All right. We say hello, and anybody that's late, you don't get a hello. Maybe I'll highlight you and just go do this and say like, "Hi, how you doing?" with a wave. But everybody else, no hellos. All right, hello, K-pop. How are you? Okay. Who else we got? We got Rudy, Cowboy Rudy. Hello. All right, we got Lisa from the Bronx. Lisa Noble. Hello, Lisa. Who else do we got? Who else do we got? I think we might have every. Oh no, we got the worm. How do I forget the worm? Hello there, bookworm. Hello there, Namen worm. Okay. I think we got everybody, and that's it. We're done with the hellos. Okay. All right. Who else is that at the end? No, I said hello to you already. That's it. No more. Without further ado, let's get our guest on. I'm rushing. I'm going real quick to get ourselves started because I don't want to delay him. All right. Because artists, they're divas, and he'll have a fucking shit fit if we delay him. So, all right. So let's get him on. Okay. All right. Well, hello.
Hey, what's up, man? Comic
Thank
Journey.
you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We I feel honored to have the Deviant Apple on here himself.
Okay. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate you giving me a platform to talk, man. I'm glad to be here.
It's my pleasure. I love to support artists. I love to support community members. I love to support people that are putting stuff out there that's worth talking about. And you're one of those individuals. So I do appreciate you. What am I going to be calling? Am I going to be calling you the Deviant? Am I going to be calling you the Apple? Am I going to go you Esteban? Am I going to call you Mr. Salinas? What am I going to be calling?
About having a name like Esteban, I'm used to people calling me a million different things. So you can call me whatever you want. If you feel comfortable, Esteban or Deviant Apple. However you want to refer to me, man. Completely up to you.
I don't know how you don't run with the name Esteban. If I was an Esteban, and I, especially if I was you look like a young guy, but if I was a younger guy and I was an Esteban, I'd be running around. I'd make a whole fake Spanish accent, and I'd be my name is Esteban Salinas.
Yeah.
And
when I was young, I hated it. When I was young, I truly hated it, just because people couldn't pronounce it right, or to my level of like the bar I would say, it's like, no, you didn't pronounce it right. So I went by Steve for a very long time.
Oh my God, that's horrible.
I know. Everyone says the exact same thing, but all of my childhood friends still call me that just because they can't undo it. But yeah, you can call me Esteban. That's good. Yeah.
All right, Esteban. We're going to be called Esteban. I got to work on my accent. But I hope that you, well, let me ask you a question since we did get on this topic, because I do ask everybody this. Do you have a significant other? Are you married? Are you engaged? Are you like in a very deep relationship?
Great relationship with my wonderful lady. She's watching right now. Yolanta, I love you. But yeah, we aren't married or anything, but we are going to be getting a place together in 2 weeks, which is related to the show, which is why I bring that up. But yeah.
Well, congratulations on getting a new place. We're going to talk about a little bit about that. And sorry, ladies, Esteban's taken. You're out of luck. I'll keep you updated. I'm sure the Deviant Apple will let me know if he's ever free again. I don't think this lady's going to let go of him because he's one of these sexy guys that I think the women's going to hold on to him. But if he ever is available again, I will let you all know, and I'll send you all his DMs, and you could harass him and try to get a date with him. Okay? So Esteban's not on the table for you guys. Oh, yeah. No help for you. All right, we're waiting. Okay? All right. Listen, I'm not a big hello guy. I like doing the hellos. Don't you hate it when you go into the chats and everybody every 2 minutes are disrupting the chat by doing the hellos? Hello this, hello. We're in the middle of conversation. Just do a hello. No. All right, we do the hellos in the beginning, get them all out, and then we just wave, and that's all we do. That's what we do after we acknowledge you. We'll wave. Right. Kool-Aid, is that what we do? Oh yeah. All right. So that's how we're gonna do it. All right. So that being said, let's get a little into you. Let's talk about you a little bit, because I discovered you a while ago. Okay. I discovered you actually through Whatnot. Mm-hmm. You were doing sales on there, you were doing art sales, and I somewhat recognized your artwork from a couple of covers that you had done, or some artwork that you had done. So I want to say somewhat unfamiliar with you. So I like doing this every so often, going on to Whatnot and different platforms and watching artists do their work as they're selling their art. You're one of those artists that actually do live commissions for people, which is a really interesting thing. And I do recommend, even if you're not a buyer, even if you're not in the market to pick up a piece of art, just go and watch these guys work. You'll learn a lot of stuff. So that being said, I discovered you through that platform, and I got to know you a little bit more over time. But tell us a little bit about like how you got started, because you're not brand new. You've been around for a while.
I've
You
been
had a
around
web,
for a bit.
you've had a YouTube channel about 9 years ago, and I know that you don't like talking about it. I know that you don't like talking about it, but it's got a lot different work than what you do now. Way different stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I
That's
went and
old. I
discovered
haven't
it.
updated it. Yeah.
I went and discovered this, and I started looking at the stuff that you had there. I'm like, what the hell? That's not the same guy. It can't be the same guy. It was to the point where I had to actually send it over to you. I'm like, is this real? Is this your YouTube or is this some other Esteban? No, no. You're like, no, it's me. I'm like, it's amazing to see people's progress over the years. In a matter of 8-9 years, the difference in work is unbelievable. We'll get into that a little bit more, but let us know a little bit about how you got started and how you um, got yourself into this world of insanity and artwork and struggling artist and the whole nine.
Yeah, it's been a weird ride, I will say. It started, I've always been a drawer, basically because I sucked at school and I did everything. My notebooks were mainly filled with sketches more than anything. And I basically did that. I moved around a lot, almost a new school every year. And then I just kind of buried my head and drew and drew and drew. So, but I kind of didn't get, during high school when I met a good core group of friends, I had banded drawing. But then I ended up going and getting my degree in game art and design, which wasn't necessarily like art school. It was more learning animation, 3D software. That work that you saw on my YouTube channel, a lot of that was done during school, which is why it has a much more different feel to it, because it was more of like concept design, vehicle design, that stuff. And I found out pretty quickly that I didn't think I was built for the gaming industry, just because it's very deadline oriented, like go, 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 hand it off to the next guy. Like you feel like a cog of the machine, basically. You don't get to really express yourself. It's very confining. Um, Even though I love video games, but I just kind of decided to step away from that and just drew nonstop. And I loved digital painting. Did that for 9 years exclusively, just painted digitally on Photoshop from 2010 till 2019 exclusively. And then I finally took the step to do real paint in about 4 years ago. And yeah, so that's
So
the
let me
gist of
ask
it.
you this. So let me ask you this. It's funny you actually called yourself a drawer, not an artist.
Yeah, I mean,
How do you
I don't know.
differentiate the difference between a drawer and an artist? Because I would classify you as an artist. I would
I
classify
don't
a
know. I
guy
guess
that
I'm
does
just
doodles as a drawer.
yeah. I guess of the terms, I don't really think about it too much. I guess artist, painter, illustrator, graphic designer, they're all pretty interchangeable to a degree. But yeah, ultimately, I think you're right. I would probably call myself an illustrator, if anything. But I don't know. Those terms can get intertwined pretty easily. But yeah, there wasn't any specific meaning behind it. But I did only do graphite in pencil for the majority of my drawing, like from childhood till high school, was all pencil and paper. Outside of the art classes here and there, like figure drawing in high school, photography, things like that was fun. But yeah, that's mainly my background was a lot of doodling, basically.
So let me ask you, what do you find more gratifying? Do you find the graphite work, the paint work, because you've been doing a lot of paint work lately,
Yeah,
or the digital work more gratifying?
they all have their pros, but I would say there is something special about having a tangible finished piece. But the paintings have something special to them because the vibrancy, you can touch it, you can feel it. It's got height, it's got depth. There's just something to it that's a little bit different.
So you're a
And
texture guy. You like the textures.
yeah,
You like
yeah, just even then, like there's something like I kind of always say this on my streams. It's like when I'm painting and the stream, it's like I promise you that it doesn't do it justice, and I think you can probably attest to this. When you get it in person, it's a totally different experience, and that's what I mean. Like you can go see the Mona Lisa, see photos of Mona Lisa, see photos of Starry Night for your entire life, but the moment you see it in person, it's a completely different experience. It's just that the lights, like there's just all that refracting and the light that's happening to the lens is taking stuff away from it. And so that's what I found really special when I finally decided to try traditional, because I got used to seeing it on a screen for so long. And like, yeah, it looks great. I love digital painting. I still do. there's just some stuff you can do that the flexibility, the ease, the speed. That's what's all amazing about digital painting, but there's just something special about traditional that just will never get replaced. And that's something that I unexpectedly found out by doing painting.
So you didn't go to traditional art school, as you mentioned before. What actually gave you your understanding of perception of shadows, of light work, of that kind of thing? Did you self teach yourself? Did you get a small basis from school, and then just run with that? What like, because you play a lot in your artwork with a lot. You play a tremendous amount with shadows and reflections and actual different lighting sources. So your average person doesn't quite comprehend that without a certain amount of training.
Yeah,
what was your best source to learn how to do all that?
All of that probably came from, I've always been obsessed with, like I've always said, like you can teach drawing, you can teach skill. Like painting, drawing is all the skill, and imagination is the thing that's very difficult to teach. I've always had a very intense imagination, and I think I did not grow up reading comic books. Oddly enough, I just didn't have the attention span for it. My ADD was so bad and still is pretty bad. But like growing up, I couldn't read it. I just couldn't sit down and read a book. It was video games and movies. And that's where I kind of adopted a heavy cinematic style into my painting. Because even though I loved all the lore, Spider-Man, Hulk, like I loved all of it. I knew all of the lore. I knew everyone's backstories. I played the video games. I collected cards, figures, you name it. I just didn't read them. But I think that helped form my style, because a lot of people say exactly what you just said, that I'm not a traditional comic book artist. And I think it's for that specific reason. I was more enamored with like Independence Day, horror movies, Alien, things like that. Like just intense storytelling with darkness and depth and highlights and light. Jurassic Park, like that stuff is what really connected with me at a young age. And I think I've just been kind of subtly trying to recreate that sense of just a story in a single image. It's just something that paint does so well, I guess.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that, because I personally have told you this myself directly. I think there's something about your art style that is so custom built for horror and for fantasy art. Not that you're necessarily pigeonholed into only that kind of art, but I think you really can tell how good you are when you're doing that kind of. Is it that you just really enjoy it and it comes out like it looks easy even though it's not, or is it just something you've been doing more?
Sorry, I didn't cut you off there. A little bit of all three, I guess, but I would say horror just tends to. I gravitate a little bit more towards that stuff because I've always had a little bit of a morbid curiosity. I'm the kid that when the wall says wet paint, don't touch it. I'm the person that goes and tries to touch it to see if it's like, it's just, I've always had that type of personality. But that kind of translated into the edge. I wouldn't say I never do something edgy just to be edgy. I will never do that. I will always have a purpose, quote unquote, but I'm rambling and I forgot the darkness aspect of my artwork. Yeah. So like horror, it's just that grungy, rough style. I've kind of learned to let go and take a step back from the perfectionist. I think a lot of artists struggle with that. Like the perfectionist, not letting people see their work until it's done. No, I'm not, even though I suffer that, but once I kind of let that go and just let it move on, that roughness, that rawness lends really well to horror. And I think I've just kind of tapped into that, and I'm just kind of really leaning into it. And I think that's what you're sensing, of like that palette knife, the roughness, the shading, the lighting. That's something all that I'm obsessed with. And that just, I mean, think about a horror movie: anticipation, setup, build up, climax, payoff, like everything. That all kind of factors in.
So, who's your favorite horror character, and what's your favorite horror movie?
As far as horror, I mean, The Conjuring is probably some of my local favorites, but Exorcist is always going to be up there. Alien, the first one, is incredible. All of Geiger's work, his art style is incredible, but he was a huge influence for Alien. Predator, I've been obsessed with Predator and Schwarzenegger since it came out. So yeah, it's kind of that genre, 80s, like 70s, 80s, and 90s is what I really like love personally.
Well, I've definitely noticed that every time somebody tells you to do a commission for Predator, you go to town on it.
Yeah,
You like
it's always fun.
if you want to get something from Esteban as far as like really to see some crazy stuff happening,
I want
ask
to
him
show
to
you
do a
guys.
Predator for you.
It's funny that you say that though, because I literally have it right here from the other night, but that was painted there. So yeah, I love painting Predator. He's a good time. Just everything about him, his clicking, the laser. He's like 8 foot tall. Everything about him is just badass from head to toe.
And he could go town. The fun thing about making characters like that, yes, you have to be anatomically correct, but at the same time, you could exaggerate stuff, and that's what makes it cool. You could really exaggerate and go to town, use your imagination, and really play around with it. I mean, like I said, I've always asked, like any pieces that I've gotten from you, and I'm going to show off some pieces that I've purchased from you over time during the stream. And I always leaned towards asking you to do darker characters because I feel that's like what I could get the best out of you in. Although I did see you do some other stuff that blew me away. You were doing a couple of Nintendo characters like Yoshi some other characters. Like I was like, holy crap, this guy couldn't do the regular cartoony art and he could do this kind of stuff. So, and it's very odd to see somebody that kind of ranges that much because you see a lot of people struggle. Sometimes they're very good at the detailed art, and then really struggle at the simple line art. And you kind of have a good grasp of both.
You're absolutely right. I have a very eclectic library, I guess. That actually has a lot to do with Whatnot, you guys, because ever since I kind of let the reins, kind of the viewers kind of dictate what I draw, it's forced me to get out of my comfort zone and really like broaden my palette like significantly. Like anime characters I never would have drawn. I mean, you name it. I've had people ask me for, I want this, like I want fantasy Zeus and like this. I was like, okay, I'll do my best. Like I'm basically trying to do what AI art does in a weird way, but in real time. Because people will ask me, oh, I want that Predator, but I want him in this particular scene. And it's like, okay, I'll do my best. And like that's what you're sensing from that.
And I want to also mention this, that you first of all, you probably hate guys like me. At least in the beginning, you probably hated guys like me because I come in and I ask a million questions to you. I'm harassing you with a bunch of questions, asking technical questions to you, and at the same time, I'm probably asking you for stuff that's well out of your comfort zone as far as drawing. I remember with women, you weren't that happy every time somebody would ask a woman commission, and now you're like completely knocking them out of the box as far as putting together some really nice pieces. I've actually had you make a couple of nice pieces for me, so I was really pleased the progress you've taken and the fact that you're more receptive to it. I think the more you get challenged, the better you do, in my personal opinion. Everybody could ask you to do a Superman. Right. Everybody could ask you to do a Batman. But when they ask you to do something that's out of your wheelhouse, I think that's when I see you really like start to grind the gears and actually start to really play with the elements on it. So if you want to piss him off,
no, you're definitely,
but actually get him to do some good stuff, tell him to do something that's out of his wheelhouse.
Yeah, I that you're absolutely right. Like I still remember from like a year ago. Like I've been on Whatnot for about a year and a half, and I think I started in December of 2021. So right when the year was changing, and yeah, I was way slower at painting, and especially women. It was just, and it's just the thing with me. I have such a high standard for myself, and especially with stuff I know I am not that great at, especially in the beginning, like women, for example, like painting portraits of them just takes a little bit longer. And then being on Whatnot, doing it live in front of an audience and knowing there's a time crunch on something you're not that comfortable with, is kind of a recipe for anxiety. So that's why I was very hesitant about certain things, but now I've kind of just gotten so comfortable. I feel like I just throw myself in the deep end every show. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what you guys are going to ask for me to paint, and that's kind of the fun. But also, at the same time, I still love doing the horror stuff. I still love doing the Spider-Mans. I still love the Venoms. There is a sense of comfort in those, but that also ensures that you're going to get a ridiculously cool painting in said time frame. If it's a character that I'm comfortable with, it's just a little risky, just because I know how I am. It's like if you ask for something like that, like, oh, I want this anime and it's something crazy I don't know of. The only thing that worries me is like I just want to, like, all I care about is giving you a painting that's the best possible version it can be. And when I don't know the character and I don't know the subject matter, that gets me a little worried. But ultimately, I feel like everyone, I can't say for everyone, but most people are pretty happy with what I end up spitting out.
It's funny you said that, because I as recently as I think about a week and a half ago, I had asked you to do a Vampirella for me, and you started to do it on a live stream, and you got so annoyed with yourself as far as how it was going that you completely scrapped the original painting and started all over again. And I don't see a lot of people do that. I don't see a lot of people do that often. They basically they just try to fix what they have. You just like, I'm done. I'm done. I'm not doing this. You know, like I'm starting over.
It's like it's the equivalent of like drilling like trying to build a home with a faulty foundation. There's just no point. Just rip it out and gut it and just restart it. Like I know exactly what you mean.
And quite honestly, what you came out with the second version was well worth you scrapping the first one, even though I thought the first one was pretty good. But that being said, I do have all your information for all the people that are watching right now and in the future replays. I do have all of Esteban's information in the description. If there's one of my mods that are in the chat right now that want to share a link for his website, that would be great. I would appreciate that. But if you can't, everything is in the information. Don't go there now because we're doing the interview live. But watch after it's done. Go and click on all his links. He's going to do a Whatnot live show right after this. So you might want to click on his Whatnot and start watching him actually work and actually see him in action. You know, like I said, you could go gaze upon him. I'm sure whether you buy or not, it does do good for his Whatnot as far as people are viewing on it and having multiple people on his channel at that time. Only one person could buy at a time anyway. So you go and you watch how he works. And, you know, I assure you, sooner or later, a lot of the people that appreciate nice art, they'll be able to go and buy something. But because we started talking about how your progress goes and some of your growing pains, the Whatnot and that kind of thing, I actually have a surprise for you. I don't know if you remember some of the stuff that I got from you a while ago, but I'm going to show you too. You might cringe. You might like it. You might, I don't know what you might feel about it, but I'm going to show you some stuff that I had picked up from you. And then I'm going to show you some of the latest stuff that I got from you. So the first piece that I'm going to show off is this. It's a Michael Myers. Nice. It's a nice piece that you did of Michael. And you did this on a special type of paper, like a linen type of, I don't know what you want to call this. But it's like a rougher type of material.
Iris paper, kind of. It's like Egyptian. It's meant to look like aged, like iris paper almost. It's not. It's like
it's got these funky holes on the side of it. I don't know where you found this paper. It's all cut, fucked up all around. It's got like a really like off look to it. So I kind of like the fact that it's so different looking. I got to figure out a way to be able to display this. To be honest with you. Because I got another piece I'll show you.
Like a glass frame.
Like maybe a glass frame.
A glass frame would work.
With a museum mat kind of thing around it.
Yeah,
maybe.
Exactly. Yeah.
Maybe
like
something along those lines.
Like it was ripped out of a sketchbook.
Yeah, exactly. And this was all done in paint. I believe this was acrylic as well. And you could tell your signature here is not quite the signature you used to have. That you have now. I think your signatures have evolved a lot since here. And I'll show you.
I just changed it. Yeah.
And then you give out these things with every single one of your paintings, which is a nice touch. And the fact that you don't charge extra for it, I think is really cool. Because I've seen a lot of artists, they want to charge extra for a piece of paper that certifies who they got it from. Your average person that looks at this, they're not going to know it's yours unless they're familiar with your work. It's nice to have this to go with this. So if you do frame it, you could actually know who actually did the work. So I'll give you a big plus on this. Then I bought
Yeah.
another piece, I think right around the same time from you, and this was a Freddy Krueger.
That one I actually kind of look fondly on. I do like that one a lot. That one,
You do, huh?
that
I
Freddy one's not. I like it.
I wasn't quite sure how I felt about this when I first
Yeah.
got it. When I first looked at it when you were doing it, I'm like, eh, eh. When I was
Hmm.
looking at you making it on thing, but it's one of those things that when you look, more you look at it, the more you appreciate some of the elements that are on here. It looks very simplistic from the get go, but there's a lot
Hmm.
more to it than you take this and take this and look at them both at the same time, and you're thinking to yourself, that's not the same artist. But when you start taking the elements of how you compose a lot of your artwork, you start to see different styles. So that was really really cool, and I like the fact that I got these. I got these back in 2022, probably a few months after you first started on Whatnot. So
Yeah,
you had gone
probably.
through a few growing pains there. It was listen. I'm gonna be honest with you. You took a
Hmm.
while to send them out to me. I
And
wanted to reach out through the freaking digital tubes and freaking choke you for taking so long, but I got him. I was happy that I got him. And by the way, people, anything that I'm showing here, I purchased out of my pocket. Anything, even the newer stuff that I got, this was all purchased before I actually approached Esteban about actually doing the interview. So there's no like gimmies, there's no like kumbaya stuff. There's nothing me just promoting him because I got like some kind of incentive out of it. I'm promoting him because I appreciate his artwork. So
thank you.
that way people understand that there's nothing like nefarious, because everything is nefarious these days. There's always some kind of incentive that people have.
Yeah,
So
I can see that.
let's jump the clock over to a few weeks ago, and we went from getting these kind of art pieces, which I really, like I said, I like them for what they are, as far as
It's just
the
different.
style is.
Yeah.
But as far as getting into actual definition and rendering and a really really more detailed style, you start to see like a real big elements of your art coming here. Let me
You
show
know
this
what?
big.
You
It
know what's
deserves to be a
funny?
little big.
What's funny is that Swamp Thing probably was done quicker than those other ones.
Yeah, I could probably assure you that is the case.
Yeah, that probably
I
is.
could probably I could probably assure you that's the case, because I think right now you're getting so comfortable doing your work that it's coming to you a lot quicker, which might be a good thing or bad thing for you, because now people think it's too easy. So you don't want that to
It,
be the.
it is a double-edged sword, to be honest. It kind of is.
Now let's show another piece that
Yeah.
shows a lot of your style. Now this goes into the women.
Hmm.
One of the things that you never used to like to do, but now I think you're
I would
knocking
have
out of the park.
I would have told you no if you would have asked me to do that like a year, like a couple months into the show. I'd be like, no, I'm not comfortable enough to do that in front of people
Well,
watching.
I remember. I
Yeah.
definitely remember. And I will say this about this work. I will say this. I think your work on women is a lot better than a lot of the other stuff I've seen of men. For some reason, even though you're struggling more for it, you start to get some really good stuff happening with the women. I don't know if it's just because you like playing with the lines and the simplicity of the way the woman looks, but it's
I,
one thing to have
I,
a monster that you could play around with a lot of the texturing and stuff like that. Another thing with a woman where you have to be actually more sensitive as far as how to put all
yeah,
the lines together, and that's not for everybody. And speaking of the signatures, you see the signature. This is what I was
I
talking about
see
as far
something.
as your. I like the signature so much more, and I will tell you this much. Um, I I have an appreciation for artists a lot of times based on their signature, how much effort and thought they put into how their signature looks. I think that's just as reflective of the art that they do, because their signature is a piece of the art, and putting a scribble or some kind of thing that's undistinguishable or you can't understand on there, I think is a very bad thing as far as an artist trying to show and reflect how well they want to be represented. So I like the fact that you went that way. You know, like I said, the old signature wasn't bad, but I like that a lot more. Way more.
You know,
Way
it's
way
funny.
more.
I've never really thought about it that way, but you put it in a very good in a perspective, because coming from this side as an artist, I've never really thought about it at all. Like as far as the signature incorporating into the piece, I guess it's just because I've been on the creating end for so long, and to me, it's just another thing I've turned out. If that makes any sense, I don't want it to sound an elitist way. I just mean like I've been like kind of cranking out so much. I just do it as like I have to be conscious of that a little bit more and remember that the signature is part of the piece. So thank you for telling me that.
Think of it like this: you take so much time to look into your brand. You make these nice certificates that are really cool. Anybody that's seen the certificates I show them, especially with the horror stuff that you put there, you put Frankenstein there, you put the brighter Frankenstein, you make them really cool and very like brand oriented. You also have you put an effort into your website, into the stuff, the way you present it in your post. So that's all part of your brand. Why would you? Why would anybody that's putting so much effort into their brand not have a signature that's worthy of their brand? That's the way I look at it.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. It's just, yeah, I guess it's just a sort of like I've been so obsessed with the creating aspect. I think a lot of other artists probably struggle with this, that you get so used to, you're just so obsessed and in love with the creation process, you forget the other half of the business part. Like it's an unfortunate part of it, but it is a very real thing. And I think that's what holds that is what holds a lot of artists back. So yeah, you're definitely right on that.
Either that, or some people just don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
You could
yeah,
see that though.
That too. Yeah, absolutely.
You could definitely see that. So let me ask you: do you do cons at all?
Yeah, yeah. I haven't in a few years, just because post COVID. I used from 2015 till COVID. I was doing 20-ish shows a year, on top
Oh
of working
wow!
40 hours, on top of working a regular job, on top too. And basically, since COVID happened, it forced everyone into the internet. Basically, and I started like really pushing, revamping my website, because now that all that revenue was gone and for the foreseeable future, I basically put a lot of effort into the online stuff, the website, like you said, basically going into survival mode. And then after that, I've done a couple shows since COVID, but at the beginning, it wasn't as risky to go, let's say, Florida. I'm in Chicago. So like doing a con in Florida, that's quite a bit of overhead between flights, airfare, or flights, hotel, everything, and not to secure a profit. And then when everything came back, everyone wasn't necessarily there anymore. Or like all the cons were kind of ghost towns. So long story short, I don't do them now. However, in 2024, I will be revamping that up back to what it was.
So you're going to come back with a vengeance in 2024 when it comes to the cons.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
What is your favorite city to do a con in? And other than your own home city, that's, it's the cheapest one to be able to do it in. Other than that, what's your favorite city?
It's funny that you bring that up. It's funny that you bring that up, but my favorite city that I've been to is probably the most expensive. It was Seattle. Seattle, I fell in love with it, man. It's beautiful.
Never been there.
I was there for Ace Comic-Con a couple times, and then Seattle. What's Seattle? Repop. Emerald City. Emerald City. I've been there too. I'll take any excuse to go back there. But yeah, New York and Seattle were my favorite for sure.
Well, now you got me with the New York, because I'm a New Yorker, so now you got me.
Yeah, I did New York Comic Con in 2015 or 16. I don't remember. It's been hard to get back in. It's like basically the World Series. As soon as applications open up, you get 10,000 applicants. Competition's very tough to get in there.
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough.
Yeah.
You might actually want to look into some of the other ones that are more comic oriented, like Heroes Con that happens in Charlotte, and Terrificon that happens in Connecticut at Mohegan Sun. Those are very comic book oriented and very artist and writer friendly. You might be able to see the best kind of interaction through one of those. But I'm learning more and more. I heard a lot of good things about Baltimore as well. I'm going to be visiting that for the first time in a couple of weeks. So I'll let you know how that goes.
I've heard good things. Thank you. Yeah, please do. Because that's been the big thing, is kind of testing the waters to see like, are cons back to what they were before? Like before I commit to traveling and doing all that. And especially with Whatnot, like it's kind of helped me not have to do cons as much. So I'm not killing myself and spreading myself way too thin, which is what problem before. where a lot of that was getting was, you know what I mean? Yeah.
The way it works is you don't know until you know, so you got to
Yeah.
test them out. So
Yeah.
you take
Absolutely.
you take it one con at a time. You see how it works, and not every year is created equal. That's the other thing.
Hmm.
One year might
Yeah.
be a flop, the next year
Absolutely.
might be the best year ever. So, you know, I think for a guy like you, I think cons is a very good thing to do, especially that you
Hmm.
work quickly. I think people would love to sit there and watch you working while you're doing that, and obviously you'll have ready pieces and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I think actually having watching you working in live action, I think will be a show in itself for a lot of people because it's a show on whatnot. So in live person, I think it would be even better. And you're very good at answering
I
questions and talking while you're working. You're not like one of these guys that have to shut up and not do anything, like not say anything while you're working to concentrate. You could actually
yeah.
multitask and actually talk and do stuff while you're drawing.
That's something that I've wanted to do for a while. Like when Whatnot first came into the picture, and they invited me on the platform, I started kind of thinking. I was like, you know, it'd be kind of fun to do is do a panel where I basically set up a little projector and do exactly what I do on and have it projected in one of the panel rooms, and then getting people in Whatnot involved and kind of doing a mini display of what I do for the show, but live, and letting people in the audience, if like, hey, if you like what I'm doing, you can bid against people at home right now. Like this is real. This is happening right now. I think that'd be really fun. And just basically treat like a live version of the show.
So let me ask you a question. Now, I like to ask this to all artists. Okay, you've done
Hmm.
exclusive covers in the past. You've worked. You've had a lot of your work published. Some beautiful covers we talked about. If you don't know what we're talking about, you can find them on the website. You can find them on Whatnot. Um, if you were selling some of your copies at a con, okay, for
Hmm.
whatever price, $20, $30, whatever it is you're selling them at a con, and somebody buys it directly from you and asks you to sign it, are you going to charge them extra for a signature
No.
because they bought it from you, right?
Yeah. That's just
Is that is
factor.
the
Like it's to me,
it,
that's just how I operate. I never would charge for signature. Now it's a little bit different if like let's say I were to blow up and you get a comic book store that comes with a stack of 100 of them. A little bit different.
oh yeah,
Like then, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that's a
That's
little bit.
that's where I draw that line. But as far as I've never charged for signature ever.
Well,
It's just
that's
kind of
nice in itself, actually not charging at all for the signature. But I'm talking about if somebody actually buys it directly from you, because that's been a point of contention for me with some artists of late. So here's the thing
yeah.
that I've noticed. I've noticed a lot of artists they sell these exclusive covers for exuberant prices, 50,
Hmm.
$100, $80, $75, whatever they're selling it for, and you're buying it straight from them. And then if you want it to be signed, they're charging you an extra fee of $15, $20, $25 extra for the signature. Doesn't that sound a little bit piggish if
Yeah,
the
that
consumer
make a
is buying it straight from them and because they're happy to buy it from them, they just want a signature to remember that thing? We're not talking about, like you said, 100 copies that they're looking to like resell and that kind of thing, or doing some kind of thing about it. I'm talking about
yeah.
a fan that buys a copy from them and asks to get it signed. It's reasonable, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, the only thing that I can see where it just depends on the situation. The artist may have something where they don't have the inventory themselves. Maybe there's a store supplementing their inventory, and they buy a book or whatever. They might look like it's coming from them, but it's coming from the store. So that's the only time that I could potentially see the signature. Like, no, the signature thing is going to the artist. Like, that's their way to support them, and then the bulk of the cost would go to the store. That's where I
Yeah.
can see the justification for charging for a signature. But other than that, if it is coming out of my own personal library, I would just factor into the cost. Like I wouldn't. For me, it's like no, whatever. If I'm charging $100 or $20 for a print, if I truly wanted that extra $5 for a signature, I would just charge 25 with the signature. I just
Thank
don't.
you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You just
yeah,
said a very smart thing, a very business like smart thing to do. If you want to make a little bit of a premium for your signature, built it into the price and just sign it anyway.
Yeah.
and then nobody gets apprehensive or anything like that. That's the smart thing to do instead of trying to do this bait and switch thing.
Yeah.
It's just been a very very point of contention for me, and I like to point that out to everybody, and like to hear every artist's point of view, because listen, everybody has a value on what they do, but at the same time, when you have people that are supporting you, I think there's limitation of how um, to be able to deal with your consumer and with your fans. And I think what
Yeah.
you're doing is the right way to do it. That being said, you're actually expanding a lot right now. You're going past only paper art. You're doing the canvases for people in commissions. You obviously do
Yeah.
the sketch covers. You've done plenty of publications where you had your art published. But now I'm noticing you're doing a lot of other things. You mentioned in your streams that you're going to start doing sketch cards, which is a really cool thing, and that's something that I've been collecting a lot of lately for myself and my personal collection. I've noticed ever since I started talking about it, I've noticed people
Hmm.
coming out of the woodwork that have been collecting the same way, and they've never really
Yeah.
talked about it much. It's a very
Yeah. No, I've
affordable
noticed
way.
that too.
It's a very affordable way for somebody to get a little piece of original art. It takes up a lot less room, and you could get a lot of it from a lot of different
Hmm.
artists. Have a little sample of different artists, and it's a really cool thing to do. So I'm
Yeah.
happy. I don't know when you're going to be doing that. Do you have any time frame when you're going to start that?
Within the next month. Yeah, because basically all I have to do is sitting down and design the blank. And what I'm going to do is design an index card-esque kind of trading card. It's going to have my name on it. I've basically taken a book out of our page out of Nate Maidit's book. When I saw him, he designed these sketch cards that just have his branding. It's blank, and then on the back, it's got some interesting facts or whatever. But using those, and that's the only thing I need to do. But with the move and the vehicle purchase and all the craziness that's been happening in the last month, it's just been kind of taking a little bit of a back seat. But basically, when I get into the new place in 2 weeks, that's going to be one. Ever since you brought that point up, it got me thinking, because exactly like I think the software says I've sold 2.7 thousand different products. Now, with that, about 80% of those, maybe 70 now, because I've been selling time extensions as different products, I've probably realistically painted 2,000 paintings on Whatnot.
That's amazing. You're like a machine.
And it's crazy because I kind of forgot where I was going with that, with the Whatnot. Okay, sorry, this happens a lot to me. um, a lot, but what was the question beforehand? I'm so sorry.
As far as what your time frame is going to be for the
Oh yeah,
sketch
the
cards.
sketch cards. So about a month.
All right, that sounds good. I'm
People
going to be looking forward to that.
Yeah. There's so many people buy original paintings, and they're getting bigger and bigger. And you kind of brought up the good points. Like, I don't have room for this. And I was like, oh shit, he's right. Like, how much wall space could one person have? So basically, the idea for the sketch cards, I'm really liking. I'm definitely pulling the trigger on that. It gives people a nice little pocket, but a full blown painting. That's going to be my goal. Is to have little, like, they're not going to be sketches. They're going to be like full blown paintings on a sketch card. That's going to be my goal.
That's very going to be very cool, and I assure you, I will probably be one of the first adopters of when you start rolling them out, because that's been my thing. It's been my jam lately, so I like that a lot. And you've been doing other things as well. What was it? Just the other day, you were actually painting a Switch console. You wouldn't have that with
My
you
own
by any
personal
chance, would you?
I do. I have it right here. So yeah, I had this idea. I think it was Tyler Kirkman do something for a giveaway, and I was like, you know what? I love that. I took my own I painted this live on, but it's really hard to see texture. There you go. You can kind of see it. But yeah, I hand painted this on my own personal Switch. And it's something that I'm going to start offering on the show, where people can send in hats, shoes, consoles, basically anything that paint can adhere to. I'm going to open up a PO box when they get into the new place, and then people can send in their own collectible stuff. And if they're Funko Pops is another big one. If people want to send in their Funko Pops, like I'll have all that set up, and then I'll be doing those on stream on Whatnot. So to kind of add on a whole another segment to the show. I think it'll be really fun.
I think that's going to be a cool element. I mean, people are going to love to have custom done artwork on like everyday items. You know, like I could
Yeah.
see people doing carrying cases for their comics or for their
Oh, yeah.
laptops or etc. Maybe even phone cases. You know how you get the
Yes.
like
Yes.
rubber cases to put over your phone.
Exactly. That was one of the things I was talking about with my dad. I was just like, you know what? I was like, imagine sending in your cell phone case and then just getting a custom painted thing. Now, keeping it from chipping off is going to be something a little different, unless you just wanted to display it. But you might have to coat it in something so it does not chip and seal it. Varnish would not do the trick. You would need something else, like epoxy,
Would you
basically.
would you have to go probably with some type of enamel instead of acrylic in order to have it more durable?
No, it's still going to chip. You would need to seal it, and I would probably. Ooh, that's okay. Besides the point, but yeah, that's like those are all problems I can work on and fix. I might have to do epoxy. I might have to figure out how to do that myself and have that be a part of the process if it is possible. It has to be. But those are the little kinks that I'll be ironing out. But yes, sending in your own items to have painted on the show is definitely going to happen.
So I'm going to open up the forum for a few questions that are coming from the chat. But before I do that, I just want to give you a couple of minutes to just kind of give us a direction of where we're going with you. How are we joining you on this journey of art that you're taking? Like, what direction are you? Where do you? What's your end game? What are you looking to accomplish with your art at the end of the day?
Oh man, that's a good question. I really don't know, man. Like I guess Whatnot has given me a sense of I, purpose is not the right word. Where before I avoided streaming for such a long time that I just was I don't know. I feel at home. I feel like I can do really well. Like again, that grows my ADHD is one thing that's helping me control the music and look up references all kind of simultaneously, and then trying to be as entertaining as humanly possible. So yeah, that's kind of I'm just gonna ride that and just I never know. That's kind of my negative and positive part of my personality. Plan my thing. I kind of just do what I feel right and just whatever happens happens. I got into comics from that kind of exact mentality. I didn't approach any book based on my work and then have you ever done a comic cover? And it kind of that's how it all started. So I haven't really like kind of going to beat of my own drum is what I've seen success and I'm just going to keep doing.
Well, it sounds like you're enjoying the entertainment as much as the art itself while you're doing it. So, because you like to talk, that's one of the reasons I wanted you on the thing because you're not one of these people that are in your own shell and don't want to talk about what you're doing. So, I think you're enjoying talking, the interaction on whatnot, just as much as doing the art itself. So, that's a really cool thing, and I applaud you doing that. Do you have any aspirations of actually doing a YouTube channel? Of showing like tutorials or anything like that of what you're doing with your artwork because I think that would be something valuable not only for the community to watch but for you as well because repetition obviously is the name of the game as far as an artist is concerned. So the more reps you get as far as doing artwork the better it would be for you and at the same time you're showing people of your style and your techniques.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think you hit the nail right on the head. Yeah, I think I'm about the answer and I have to space out. Can you repeat the question one more time? Just the end part. I'm so sorry.
What I was saying is basically showing your techniques and your style through a platform like YouTube, I think would be beneficial not only for the community to be able to watch, but for you as well of getting some more reps in there while you're entertaining people.
Yes, that's what I forgot. That was the question. So yes, YouTube and other platforms, that is absolutely part of the plan. I tried that at about last year, but what I found out is I was spreading myself way too thin. I tried Patreon, and I just could not. I was spreading myself way too thin. So after I kind of reset, stopped that, getting my groove with Whatnot, and really figuring out a process that works for me, and I think I'm almost there. Still a couple kinks to work out, but I'm definitely getting better at the logistics and the business side of things. getting stuff to you guys on time and things like that. But after, like, once I get into the new place, get a new computer, that's when I'm going to start to dedicate time to putting a YouTube channel, tutorials, Patreon. The Discord basically kind of acts like that essentially for right now. So if you want some sort of extension, or if you want like an open conversation area, my Discord for the show is like, there's about 40-ish, 50-ish members in there. It's basically just an extension. So people are posting their artwork, asking for critiques, sharing ideas for the show, kind of just collaborating. It's really cool. And so that's kind of been acting as that, if that makes any sense, for the time being, until I can kind of get my bearings back and really dedicate and attack Patreon and YouTube correctly.
You know, and that Discord is actually in your link tree. So anybody that wants to go and join that and check it out, they could definitely find that. Hopefully, Esteban, part of your goals is in your new apartment that you go into, in your new studio, that you have a better internet connection. Because I don't know what the hell's going on with your internet. Because it's like, what the hell? And it happens to you a lot when you're on YouTube, when you're on Whatnot too. You get a lot of breaks. And it's got to be the service there over there. So hopefully you get a better service and a better provider with stronger signal, because it drives me crazy.
It changed. I know, dude. Trust me, it drives me crazy. Like, I can't tell you how infuriating it is, but yeah, it's just the internet here has just not been good. But with the new place, I've already been looking into it. It's like priority number one, be getting 1,200 megabits a second internet, so I'll have the basically light speed there. So that will not be a problem.
Don't be embarrassed. Don't be embarrassed. Just name your provider so we can embarrass them. Who is it?
T-Mobile, man. T-Mobile? T-Mobile. Yeah, because everyone's moving to these the little modules, and it's just becoming like, I don't know if it's with this complex or whatever, but like the signal is just god awful. There is no hardwire cable anymore, so it's just been like a constant struggle with them to get it working right. But basically, with the new place, we're going to have a hardwired Comcast like internet connection, because it's just the only reason I have not gotten it before, because the move happened so unexpectedly and quick. There was no point in getting the new internet and everything, so I'm going to write it out and then just get the new internet at the new place in a couple of weeks.
So Esteban, I know you're pressed for time. You need to get that show started for Whatnot. Is it okay if we ask you a couple questions before
absolutely.
you go, or do you have to jump off right away? All right, so give us just
I can take all the time in.
I start a couple of questions. We'll ask them. If there's anybody quickly that wants to jump in with more questions before we log off, now's your time to put them in. Any questions?
You don't answer no questions, and I won't tell you no lies.
Hey Lord, don't ask me questions. Hey Lord, don't ask me questions, please.
What do you want? What do you want from us? To ask you this much is just a matter of trust, not an affront. What do you want?
All right. See, I'm a little artistic too with my freaking intros. There you go.
Yeah, that's good. I like it.
All right. So we got the first question here from Evil's Comics. Have you had any problems starting the business side?
Oh God, yes. That's been my biggest weakness, is just like figuring out the do's and don'ts of commissions and taking too many. Having ship stations is just something I never would have. If you would have asked me if I was going to be a business owner, like when I was in high school, I would have told you you're fucking crazy. There's no way. But like, kind of just stepping back, like, oh, okay, I need to figure this thing out. But yeah, it feels dirty when you mix art and money together. It just does. There's something so it's an unfortunate byproduct of it, because I have to eat and make a living. But yes, it is unfortunately.
It's kind of like what we were talking about before with the signatures. What we were talking about before, that's an element. That's a touchy subject.
Yeah, exactly.
And how to be able to do it the right way and the wrong way. Obviously, you need to feed yourself, but at the same time, you need to know how to continue growing your fan base and your customer base. So there's a balance. There's
definitely a balance. And customers never want to feel like they're being nickel and diamond. It's the worst.
And it might even stifle your creativity doing it. That's the other thing.
No, it does. Yeah.
Are you by any chance being represented by any national or any local art dealers with your original art?
No,
Do you have any aspirations
no,
of getting connected to one of them, or are you always going to go self-representing?
that would be kind of cool. I actually would love to have some sort of representation like that because again, that's just my biggest like weakness. I would say it's just if like I had a couple managers before, they were great guys. Just I was going through a lot of a lot of mental health issues at that time a couple years ago, and then that was when COVID happened. So like there was a lot of friction, and we just kind of decided to part ways. But at that time, I think I'm finding my stride. I would love for like some sort of management to help me kind of guide for that reason, just to kind of take my mind off of that stuff and let me create. And that would be I'm not necessarily like, that's my priority number one. I'm happy doing this and I'm having a blast hanging out with you guys. So like I'm just going to kind of go that way. Just kind of do that.
So you're open to working with managers or agents, not you, Don King, but you know, good agents and good managers. They're not going to steal all your money. You know, you don't want the ones that are going to steal your money. All right, so we'll make sure that we'll find you a good guy. Real rude. This is a question that's asked a lot of times throughout the chats to all our artists. What superhero would you kill, and how would you do it?
Damn it, he's pulling out of the air. Let's go with Superman just because he's a little bland.
He's a little bland,
like Superman. Yeah, to me, he's just a little good. Like outside of that, I'm really picky here. I love them all, but I guess I'm just more of the darker guy, tones, darker villain. Even like that's just me. So I guess I would go Batman, and just like Superman's just never been one of my things. And Kryptonite up the ass, how he would go.
Right up the ass.
Go to the old.
Give him a good
to shoot an arrow with.
Give him some good hemorrhoids with that.
Yeah.
That kryptonite.
Yeah.
All right.
Ant-Man can go.
Yeah. Oh, you're going to town with that.
What he said was what is it called?
Maybe we need to see a piece reflecting that soon. So we got a serious question. Are you worried about reaching a point where you would be overwhelmed by commissions and logistics of returning those items to the buyers? That's actually a really good question. It's close to what we were talking about before.
Yeah, that's a very good question, actually. That is one thing I did not anticipate. Absolutely. That is something that I'm becoming increasingly more worried about moving forward because it's the fear is spreading myself too again. And they're, again, talking about the money mixing with artwork, it gets a little dangerous because then what fixes that is upping your price because then less people, the more in demand you are, the less free time you have. So that means your demand goes up, with price goes up. The only problem with that is you start to box out certain customers. So that's the downside of that. But at the end of the day, it does come down to creating the best piece for the best money and on time. So there is a tipping point where you have to look at it and be like, okay, like this is the time where everything's going to go up because it's just, I'm getting ripped in too many different directions. And that's one thing I am desperately finding out. It is a very real fear of what kind of happened in the beginning.
Part of the business element, supply and demand.
Yep. Yes.
Very low. And I will tell you this, Esteban, and I brought this up to you in the past. Like the first pieces that I got from you that I showed you off took a long time to come in, and that's when you had a shorter workload. Now you have a much larger workload that you're working off, a lot more pieces that you're putting together. And I noticed that your delivery rate and your customer service, as far as communication, has gotten a lot better. So I guess it's little growing pains that you've learned a process that actually makes it a lot easier for you. It's just like anything else. You got to learn as you're going, and we're all human, and you kind of figure it out as it's going on. And I think you got something good going as far as being able to balance out quality and delivery rate, because you don't want to rush.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's the golden ratio: the quality and the delivery rate. That's, I think, there has to be a perfect balance in there somewhere. It just there is a ratio of money spent to expected delivery time to expected result. So there is a trifecta golden ratio there. And I guess the better you can master it, the more successful you can be. And that's, absolutely.
All right, let's see if I could understand this question. Was Megan Fox the inspiration for his Sleepy Beauties #1 exclusive? Because it was just like her. Ask that journey. Okay, I did ask him.
Yeah.
And I'm not familiar with this cover.
I know
so
what you're talking about.
Now I want to get
I
familiar with
wish
this
I had
company.
a bullet. Yeah, just look, it'll be Sleeping Beauty's my variant. But yeah, no, actually, it's a good eye though. I know exactly that. She does have a resemblance to Megan Fox, but she had no part in that. It was just some random that jogged my imagination scrolling through Instagram at 3 a.m. and it was just a picture of a girl at her face, and I was just like, it completely sparked something. Painting it immediately, and I got the majority of it done at 3 in the morning. And so yeah, but I can absolutely see the resemblance of Megan Fox now that you say that.
So how much of a balance do you have between reference and imagination in your fantasy as far as when you're putting the pieces together? Because I know that you definitely use reference in order for positioning
Mhm.
or certain type of scenery and layouts. But how much of that do you really put into the actual piece itself, or do you use more of your? Because I've noticed there's you might be looking at something that's photorealistic, and it'll still look photorealistic when you do it, but it won't look exactly like what's happening. Do
Yeah,
you like to
I'll
alter
always.
things?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I always try to change stuff up. Like I kind of made that a point, and because like if I had if and whatnot, if I had 10 customers that did 10 Spider-Mans after back to back to back, each one of those is going to look different. That's just kind of how I am setting the bar for myself. I just never want to seem like I'm taking the easy way out, so I constantly will always be challenging myself in those regards. Um, but yes, uh, Stephen King's
All right,
Sleeping
just
Beauties.
I just have a couple more questions, and I promise I'll let you go.
Yeah, that's fine.
Next,
No, I'm
next
looking down
question.
at the comments. Don't think I'm looking down at the time. Don't. I have my phone down and I'm looking at comments so I can read.
Well,
That's the
I'm
only reason
mindful
looking
of
down.
I'm mindful of the
Yeah.
time because I know that you don't like the business aspect of it, and part of the business aspect is to start your show when you have to start the show. So I don't want you to be delayed. So
Yeah,
I'll
I
help
guess.
you with
Yeah, I
that.
appreciate you, man.
So we got a question for the
uh,
comic book worm. A comic book worm, by the way, because he's like a very clever fucker. He puts A in front of it and not the, because A goes up first on the Google searches, so you can be seen by more people. Just a little tip. So if you ever want to be really, really famous and in the Google searches, put A Deviant Apple, not just Deviant Apple, A Deviant Apple, because you'll
AD
go
Apple.
higher up on the Google search. Just so you know.
Yeah.
So the question we have here is: uh, did you said did you say you digitally paint or analog drawing live commissions on Whatnot? No, he
So
does
on
actual
Whatnot, I
live,
do traditional.
only
Sorry, you keep
traditional
going.
work, and I strongly advise and suggest that anybody that likes to see artwork done, all those guys that used to love Bob Ross doing his lovely flowers and his puffy clouds and all that stuff, that kind of stuff. If you're into watching people do art live in front of you and talking while they do it, go check out Esteban's channel. It's Deviant Apple, the same way he has his name on his title. Go check it out, and it's in the description. Next question is from Beckerman. Have you been able to make amends to the collector who gave money and didn't get their art? Is there a
Yes,
specific?
I'm working on that. Yeah. I know exactly who he's talking about. Yes, I am. I have not done that yet, but with the move, a lot of stuff is getting. I still have everything. Yeah, because he ordered some commissions and prints, but that was when I was going through a lot of mental depression and stuff like that, so I just was not being productive. But yes, I'm going to be doing that because I haven't sold anything that's all here in boxes. But yes, I will be making amends with that. I'm glad you actually brought that up, Beckman.
All right, I wasn't sure. I'm not sure about what the instance was that happened. I guess there was an incident where somebody didn't get their art from you.
Yeah, because it was a store because that was when I first started Whatnot at the old studio. They had purchased a couple commissions. I had gotten most of them done, but I was going through it's a lot of personal stuff, but just deep depression. I think I streamed from Whatnot twice in 3 or 4 months, and you guys know my rate now. I do 4 to 5 shows a week, so it's just like
Yeah, Monday through
I was just
Thursday,
not in the
as
right
far as I
space.
know.
Yeah, for the most part, I'll throw in a couple of shows, but yes, I'm going to be getting that squared away. Thank you, man.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that you had an instance like that, and yeah, but I am happy to hear whatever the problem was, you're getting past it. I know that a
Yes,
lot of us
so much
have
better.
our mental situations that we deal with in our own different ways and our different reasons. So I'm happy to see you're looking like a functional human being. and you don't look like a deranged
Yeah,
artist
absolutely.
with whacked out hair and all that stuff. And you got yourself rolling and actually fulfilling your orders. So that's actually a really good thing
Yeah.
to see. I
Thank
thought
you,
you were
man.
going to be
Yeah,
a
it was
weirdo.
going a
To be
little
quite
crazy
honest,
there for a while. It was.
I thought you were going to be one of these
Weirdo.
really big weirdos with the puffy Bob Ross hair and all that stuff. You look like more normal, like than I expect, like a regular artist to look like. You know, you
Yeah,
gotta mess yourself up a little bit.
Did plenty of that enough. I don't want to do that here.
You want to buck the trends, huh? You don't want to be people. You don't want to be like all the other
Yeah.
nutty artists. All right.
I've already gone through that mental health scape. I don't want to do that. Thank you, man. I appreciate. Yeah, I know. I don't want anyone to think that I was stealing from anyone. It just was a legitimate. Like, I was going through some deep, dark depression. I had some unfortunate suicidal tendencies and thoughts at one point. It was. I'm okay with talking about this. I've learned to kind of open up and be transparent about it, man. It's just I was going through some really dark stuff, and it was just the middle of everything. Again, spreading myself too thin. I kind of just panicked and I just froze. And but yes, I've been doing so much better mentally. I still have a lot of that stuff here, all of it here. But in the shift to the new studio, everything's going to get organized. I know I'm going to find a lot of stuff that's been buried and sandwiched. So I'm really excited to be kind of gutting everything and just kind of like taking inventory.
Well, I'm glad to hear that you got yourself on the right path. I'm very happy that you didn't off yourself because of the suicidal tendencies. I'm happy about that because we all want to see more fantastic stuff coming from you in the future. I got one last question that's here, and that is, what is the history behind your name? Why
So
Deviant Apple?
It started as a dodgeball. My high school friends, we made a dodgeball team, and we came up with the name Deviant, or no, Bad Apples. That's what the name of the dodgeball team was. I was like, oh, that's awesome. Like, we were all hyped for it. And I designed a logo, which is the logo that you see now. I designed that in my senior year of high school, and it stuck with me. I kind of just kept it, and I really liked it. And I was talking to the guys like, hey, no one's going to use this name, right? Like, I'm just going to take it as my, and they have all knew I've been drawing forever. Like, yeah, go ahead. I don't care. So I took it and I tried to file under Bad Apple, but it was taken. And then Deviant Apple was available. So, well, I was just kind of thinking, what's another word for Bad Apple that still works? Because of the logo, because I had the little smirk and everything, and I just called Deviant. It was available, and that's how it came to be.
Well, Deviant does sound a lot more sinister. It does sound like a lot more evil.
I like it better.
It's an evil apple. Like, I would have like a freaking evil worm eating that apple. I don't know. Like, my mind goes into really dark places when it comes to hearing Deviant and stuff like that. So, all right, I thought it would have been a much more like scary kind of story, but I guess it all comes from dodgeball. Dodgeball, I guess, is kind of scary.
Yeah, it's weird. It's a weird little silly story. I get that question a lot, but yeah, it comes from a weird. I still have the old T-shirts. It got like bleach stains on it from 2010. They're somewhere buried in my closet, but maybe I'll pull that out one day and show it on stream. But it does have the original logo design on it, and it has my name on it.
Well, that being said, I think we said a lot. I think we said enough to give us enough of an opportunity to want to have you on again at some point to continue to this conversation, because I think we only got to the top of what you're all about, and I'd love to have you on at some time in the future after you're in your studio. And discuss some of the new stuff that you're doing and that kind of thing. But before we let you go, what kind of stuff should people expect tonight on your Whatnot show? Are you going to be doing commissions? Are you going to be doing it? It's expect the unexpected. Is that what we're looking for?
Expect the unexpected. Exactly. That's a perfect way to put it. That's kind of the fun of it. I just don't know. I will then start. Actually, you know what? I might start off with I owe someone a Gore the God Butcher because that was damaged in transit a while ago. I'll start with that after the varnishing, and then I'll jump into the winter picks, and then let you guys decide what you want to see me draw.
Very cool. And are you going to be doing one of those raffle art drawings that you?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I think I'll be doing another raffle.
So just so everybody knows what that is he makes a few commission pieces throughout the stream. Usually your streams last for about 3-4 hours. During that stream, you do as many commissions as humanly possible. depending on how long they all are and that kind of thing. And by the way, I'm going to let you guys know he's going to hate the fact that I tell him this, tell people this, but he charges based on how many minutes he's working on it. But a little secret, he always goes over. So
Always.
you always get a
I
few
get
minutes
yelled
extra.
at a lot for it.
You always get a few extra minutes out of him. So that's until he becomes a diva. And until he becomes like, Steranko or something, and he's like, no, I'm gonna be charging $50 a minute. Until he becomes that, take advantage of it because you're not gonna be getting that for a lot cheaper. But one of the things he does is he does a raffle at the end of the shows after he does all his commission, and he does a piece that moment, whatever he chooses to do. It could be a random thought of his, it could be a random character, it could be something, a scene. That kind of thing. Like I saw him do Nacho Libre the other day of him with his stretchy pants. That was actually a really cool piece. And typically what he does is he charges $10 a raffle. And how many raffles do you usually put in there? 10 raffles or something like that?
10. I did 20 for last night for the first time, but it's probably going to stay between 10 to 20 tickets. It just kind of depends on a couple of different factors. If I'm planning on doing something a little bit more popular, if people, just a couple, but around there, 10 to 20 tickets to $10 a piece. Yeah.
So basically, for the cost of $10, you have a chance, a raffle ticket to win something that could be worth $150 or so, more or less, as far as one of your art pieces. And that's a really cool thing. Plus, it supports you.
Yes, yeah, and ultimately, like if it's something that I choose, chances are that I am going to do it better than something that I'm not comfortable with. Or if you say, I want to do this anime, but I know nothing about it, chances are if it's something that I pick, it'll always come out better because I know the ins and outs of said character, subject matter, everything. So I always will put way more, it's not that I don't put effort, but more comfortable effort in those paintings because it's something that I'm choosing. So that's the upside to that.
And you mentioned that like everybody that buys a raffle anyway from you, like you'll throw something in for them or something like that with their package.
Yes.
So you don't feel like you just completely spent $10 and you got nothing out of it. He's always gonna like take care of you when you buy other stuff. So that's something that's a nice thing that you do. So that being said, I'm gonna let you go to your show. I hope you knock it out the park. I hope you do some really insane looking stuff today. Next time I ask you to do a commission, you're gonna hate me because I got some really crazy thoughts in my head. So
okay, let's do it.
We'll see where that's gonna go. And you should do, I've told you this in the past, the sexy lady stuff will probably get you a lot more raffles sold than other stuff.
Yeah,
there's a lot of perverts out there.
Yeah, it's funny last kind of end on this note, but like I purposely avoided painting sexy women for a very specific reason. If you notice in all of my artwork that's been published and or made prints of, there's probably like one, maybe like not one, like maybe five, like sexually, like just like just overly sexualized images. But I only did that because I wanted to make it a point that I wanted people to like my artwork because it was good. That's just, I feel like it's just low hanging fruit. So like when I was coming up, I purposely avoided drawing sexy just for that reason. Again, below the me setting my bar higher, I just didn't want to be associated with that kind of art. I just was like, no, I want, if I'm going to be painting a picture of a woman, I want it to be, it can be seductive 100%, but it's going to be done tastefully. And because I think that's a way harder route to take. It's a way harder route to take, to do something tastefully yet sexy, composition well. That's hard. Not to just draw overly sexy stuff and call it a day, because ultimately you could draw a pair of boobs on a water bottle and you could probably sell it. So that's just not fun for me.
And you don't want to go for the cheap pop. It's easy to be able to show a pair of boobs or a big butt or something like that, and people are like, "Ooh, look, I'm going to buy it because it's a cheap pop." They can start giggling and they have their dirty art.
It might make me some money, but yeah.
I think I should surprise you the other time because I got that lady death that I just showed you, and I didn't catch you fast enough to tell you to try to hide her nipples a little bit, because I actually like to display. I actually like to display my art, and I do have little girls, and at the same time I like to post it and stuff like that. So I try not to show too much of that stuff. But when I mentioned it to a couple of the other pieces, I had you do like a Demon Woman and a Vampirella for me. That when I get those, I'm going to show those off. I made a point of telling you, try to like in your way, not make it very explicit. Why? Because I want to be able to. And you shockingly told me that most people tell you the opposite. They want more to be seen.
Yeah, I made that comment. I remember that. Yeah, I remember like, well, it's the first time I've ever had someone not want that in the drawing. But okay, yeah.
I like my artwork to be more universal. That I could admire it and I could show it off, and not like feel like kind of dirty showing it off.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I want to be proudly. I want to be able to proudly display it on my wall or show it off in the post or something along those lines. Or if ever I needed to give it to somebody or something like that, it's not something that it gets that cringy kind of feel. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
can appreciate for the beauty that it has.
No, I 100% agree with you.
But that being said, let me let you go. Have an awesome show tonight. I appreciate you. I appreciate everybody in the chat today. I think we had a really, really healthy bunch of people in here, a lot of questions. And go, like I said, I have his link in there. The Whatnot link is in there. Go check him out. It's worth at least watching for a little while, because I promise you, when you watch him for a little while, you'll grow to appreciate that style and him a lot more. So hopefully we introduce you to somebody that could be somebody that you could appreciate for many, many years to come.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And there's prints, guys. So even if you can't afford some original artwork, just it can go up. I understand that, but there's prints too. So don't think I only do original artwork on there. There are a lot of stuff that you can get at lower cost. So just wanted to throw that out there.
And you do remarks and stuff like that. Like if somebody buys a print from you, you do a remark on it for them and stuff like that. That would cost them a little bit less than we're getting original piece.
Yes.
And that kind of thing. But that being said, I'm going to pay the intro as the outro because I don't have a custom-made outro for this thing. So we're going to play that, and then we're leaving. So goodbye, people. I appreciate you. I appreciate Mr. Apple here, and good night.
Thanks.
Well, I think that was a really good show. What do you think, Punchy? It was a good show, right? What do you think, Kool-Aid? Was that a good show? I think it was a good show. Oh yeah. Well, yeah. How do you like being back in the format? I think that was really cool. I think we got to meet somebody new. I think a lot of people that didn't know about him, they got to get to know some stuff. I think it was a cool thing. We asked him some tougher questions, some easy questions. I think we I don't know. I'm hoping the people appreciated. I hope the people appreciated this format and that we had for Esteban, and hopefully this is the first of many more interviews to come. Wait, am I live? Am I still live? No. I might. Hey, Hey, didn't you say that we turned this off? Oh yeah, no, not oh yeah, oh no, yeah. It's supposed to be off. It's supposed the interview's over. The video's supposed to be over. We play the intro as the outro, and we're supposed to be done. We're supposed to be freaking done. And you didn't press. You're a terrible co-host. You're a terrible co-host. I don't care that you're handicapped and your leg is like messed up. You're messing up. You're messing up. Punchy. What are you doing? You're supposed to cut up. You're supposed to make up the slack for this guy. I don't understand. I don't understand what the hell is going on. I do not understand why I have such poor help. But you know what? And the freaking stream and the freaking show. It's done. It's done. We're gonna. That's it. That is it. That is it. We had a good show. That's all we want. For once, we're going to have a freaking stream that is less than 10 gazillion hours. Less than 10 gazillion hours. Why? Because that's what we're supposed to be doing. Because that's what the algorithm likes. The algorithm likes nice, concise, 1 hour type of interview shows. And what happens? You don't press the freaking end broadcast. And now we're still live, and people are looking at us, and people are still looking at us, and they're still looking at us, and they're freaking. I don't know. Anyway, it looks like people are still in the chat. So here's the opportunity. Here's the opportunity for all you people that are still watching. Here's your little bonus segment. Here's your little bonus segment to this to the show to the comic journey influences. If there's a specific person that you would like to have me interview on this show, I'd love to hear about it. You could either put it in the chat right now, or you could actually put it in the comments on the actual video and let me know who would you like to see me influence in the future, because I would love to influence the world one community member at a time. Okay, so you tell me who it is and I'll go after them. Okay, all right. That being said, I think end already. End. Do you understand? And do you understand it? 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 Everybody has to end. We're ending the broadcast. Why? Because it's Wednesday night. Everybody's broadcasting. Everybody's doing the stream. And this is overlapping and fucking up everybody's mojo, because we all of a sudden Journey decides to stream. Journey decides to stream live in prime time on a Wednesday night. And people are going to get butthurt. Oh my God, he's taking our viewers. He's taking, well, guess what? CBC Awards. I'm coming after you. I'm going to win a freaking award. You're going to see what's going to happen. Yeah, you, Brian, you hear me? Yeah, I'm going to win an award this year. Why? Because I'm that damn good. All right. So that being said, that being said, okay. All right. Done. Look at me. Look at you. Love you all. Thank you. I appreciate you all. Great show. Yes. I'll give myself a little pat on the back. Great show. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you. All right. Well, I thanked you guys already. You want more thank yous? Is that what you want? You want more thank yous out of me? Listen, I can't give you more than one. I gave you a thank you. All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My friends, I thank you from the bottom of my heart.
I want to thank you much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Over. End stream. Over.